Day 1008. It's midnight. I just got home a little bit ago. Me and some of the warriors of God, one of my friends, one of my clients, and my mom, we went out to dinner. One of the warriors of God, he has a couple restaurants, and he invited us out as kind of a late celebration of one of the other warriors' birthdays, and so we went out, the four of us, and it was just so much fun. Like, we laughed so much, and just had like good conversations about God and all this, and it was just a really cool experience. And then we went over to his other restaurant, so we had this amazing like meal. He ordered all these things and we shared, and it was just like delicious, amazing food. And then we went to his other restaurant next door, which was like a pizza place, and they had live music. And so we were like sitting there, and they had a live band playing, and I was just sitting there, and one of my friends was like, "Hey, are you good? Are you okay?" Because I was just like in another world. I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm great." And I just realized, like, the closer I get to God, like the farther I get from the world. Like, the closer I get to God, the more connected I get to God, the more disconnected from the world I get. And so we're sitting like, and there's live music, and people are like, moving around and everything. And I'm just sitting there, just kind of like staring off into the distance, just like thinking, just like my mind is just like not even really thinking, just like, I don't know, hard to explain, like just in awe of God. Like, I don't know, I can't really explain it. Like, I wasn't really thinking a lot, but I felt like I was in deep thought. I just felt like I was just like in the presence of God, just hanging out with God. And yeah, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. And as we were having the conversation at dinner, and I was saying, like, talking about lust, like the lust almost got me last night. Like, I let it in, started looking at pictures of and stuff from exes, and was so close to just letting the lust win. And in the last moment, God gave me an opportunity to get out. There was a glimmer of light, and I took it. And what would have been a total defeat ended up being a massive victory, because I actually went through all of my pictures, and I deleted all of my pictures of my ex-girlfriends, like all of them, from everything. Just deleted them all. Because it was interesting, like last night, like the lust, like I allowed the spirit to come back. And what was crazy is I had no interest in watching any porn. It was just like, no, I'm not going to watch porn. That's, no, not into that anymore. But it was like pictures of my exes or videos of my exes that I had. And I realized that's what that spirit uses more than anything. And I was so close to giving in, and God just like grabbed me at the last moment. And the word says that God will never tempt us beyond our means. And I felt like I was at the edge of like ultimate temptation, and somehow like God just pulled me out of it, and I was able to take those same pictures and videos and delete all of them, which I haven't done like since I've had a phone. Like, I've never deleted those. And it felt like this liberating experience of just like getting rid of them. And I've been starting to talk about like this future wife that people keep talking about, and like I've just had this feeling, this like knowing inside that as long as I have those pictures and videos of my exes, my wife will never walk into my life, because she will not be the kind of woman that will be okay with me having sexual pictures and videos of my ex-girlfriends. Like, that will be like a non-negotiable standard for her. Like, she has no interest in a guy who has stuff like that on his phone. And so I've known like it's like something that I need to get rid of, but I just didn't have like the strength to do it. And last night I realized this is this spirit's ultimate stronghold, are these pictures and these videos. And I deleted all of them, from the beginning of when I first had an iPhone 15, 20 years ago, something like that. So 20 years of pictures. That's crazy. I have like 50,000 pictures or 40,000 pictures in my photo library, and just went through and spent hours. I was up till like 3 a.m. just deleting. And it was so liberating. And so that was an amazing experience. And so we're sitting at dinner and we're talking about lust. And, when we look at other women, it's me and the guy and then my friend and my mom, and just like openly talking about lust. And I said, what's changing for me is when I look at a woman and I look twice, like I actually, in my mind now, what I'm saying is I'm disrespecting my wife, my future wife. Like I'm disrespecting her. Like I haven't even met her, but it's like, that's the kind of mindset that I want to have. Like when I look at a woman sexually, then I'm actually disrespecting the woman I'm meant to be with. And that's like, I want that kind of mindset. And I was like, wow, that's so powerful. And as we were having this conversation, I was just listening to them talk. I just realized, like, I think I'm a lot different than most people in the world. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm really different. Like I don't really fit into the world, which that is a beautiful thing, because the Bible says you are not of the world. So yeah, that's a good thing. And the closer, it's just like the closer I get to God, the less appealing the world is to me and things of the world. And so, we're sitting there and we're listening to the music, and my friend is talking to me, my mom's talking to her, and my mom's talking to me, and I'm sitting in the middle of them, and they're kind of going back and forth. And then I realize, oh my gosh, I have to do my Warriors of God call in the morning. I need to figure out like what the next Bible verse means. I need to look it up in Greek and try to figure out what I'm going to talk about tomorrow morning. And so I pull out my phone, there's live music going on, and I start studying the Bible. And I'm just like fascinated by this next verse that we're studying. And I'm just like processing it and thinking about it. And my friend, she's like waving her hand in front of my face, and she's like, pay attention to me. And I just started laughing. My mom started laughing. And I was like, I know there's a lot going on, like the music and everything, but I'm studying the word, and this is so interesting. Like, and in that moment, I was just like, there's nothing in the world that I find more interesting than the word of God and actually understanding what it says. Like, I've got people around me, I've got a live band in front of me, and I'm sitting there studying the word. And it's like, that's the most fascinating thing I could imagine doing in that moment. And it just showed me like, wow, I'm really transforming. I'm really changing dramatically. Like, this is crazy. And I just felt like, it's crazy. Like, tonight was the first night that I've ever felt like I don't belong in this world. Like, this world has nothing for me. Like, yeah, it was weird. Like, I had such a great time, and at the same time I felt like I don't belong in this world. It's crazy. Kind of hard to explain. And then my friend said something crazy. She started talking about like my future wife, and she said, I don't think your wife would go to our church, or if she did, she'd go one time and never come back. And she said, I think your wife is going to be at Calvary Chapel. And when she said that, I was shocked, because literally tonight when I was getting ready to go out to dinner, I was thinking like, man, this woman that's supposed to be my wife, she would never go to my church. And then something asked me, I don't know if it was me or if it was God, but I said, yeah, my wife would never go to my church. And then the question came, well, then why are you? And it was like, oh, my wife would never go to my church. Well, then why are you? And I was just like this, whoa, that's a good question. And I immediately thought, yeah, my wife would go somewhere like Calvary Chapel, which is the church that I went to a few months ago when I went to the apologetics conference, where they just have a different pursuit of God, a more serious pursuit of God, a more respectful pursuit of God, like a more in-depth pursuit of God. It's just a totally different kind of church. And when I went there, you could just feel the presence of God, like the moment you walk in, because it's just a different kind of pursuit. And the church I go to is really cool and hip, and it's really good for beginners. But once you've gotten past that kind of beginner faith, there's not much there, like in terms of spiritual development. You're not really going to get very far unless you just start studying on your own. And so it's so crazy, because she said, your wife is not, I don't think she's going to go to, I don't think you're going to meet her at our church. And if she does come to our church, she'll come one time and never go back. She probably is going to go to a church like Calvary Chapel. And I was like, that is crazy. I was just thinking those two exact things a few hours ago. And the fact that she said that blew me away. And it's just like, it's crazy. Like, my mind and my heart is starting to crack open a little bit. Like, maybe this wife thing is real. Like, maybe she actually is out there, this impossible woman. And like that, when she said that, it was just like, how could she say that? Like, and she said, when you meet her, she's going to say something to you, and she's going to say something to you, and only you and God know what she's going to say. And when she said that, I knew exactly what she's going to say. But I was about to say it out loud and tell them, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to say a word. And I was like, wow, it's like, so twice my friend like prophesied these things that I was already thinking. It was like massive confirmation. So I was just shocked. I was like, wow. So when this like happened, I'm just sitting there just in awe of God. Like, just, it probably looked like I was not having a good time, or I wasn't having fun, but I was just like sitting there just in awe of God, just like in the presence of God, just totally blown away. And yeah, it's like my experience of life is really transforming. It's crazy. And I can't even explain it. It's just, life is occurring to me so differently, and it's so freeing and liberating and exciting. And yeah, it's just like, it's beautiful. So I'm very inspired and excited, and yeah, God is doing something so powerful in me, and I just feel so blessed and so honored that this is the life I get to live. And my wife is out there somewhere. Wow. And the confirmation is just getting too intense. It's like, all right, God, I'm not going to doubt you anymore, because you're just making this way too real. So yeah, it was just crazy that she said that, and I thought it before I even left the house today. Like, just, what are the odds of that? So yeah, it's getting real. Anyway, I gotta go to bed because I have to wake up in 5 hours.